The wait is over. God is releasing what you prayed for, unveiling the very thing you've been believing for. You've been standing in faith when nothing seemed logical. You've been walking through seasons that stretched everything inside you. You've cried in hidden places, worshipped through hurt, and kept trusting even when nothing appeared to shift. But listen closely. With the authority of heaven, the wait is over. God has heard every whisper, noticed every tear, and recorded every expression of faith you've made. What you assumed was a delay was divine preparation. What you perceived as silence was God arranging the backdrop. Now, the heavens are opening, and the answer that once felt distant is being poured into your life. There are moments in life when it seems like time itself works against you. You pray and witness no visible change. You plant seeds of faith yet see no immediate harvest. You wonder if your prayers are hitting a ceiling. Yet behind the scenes, God has been moving, aligning, and orchestrating. The silence was not rejection. It was intentional. God was preparing the ground so that when the blessing comes, it won't crush you, it will strengthen you. When the answer arrives, it won't just meet a need, it will elevate your purpose. Many have surrendered during the waiting season. They stopped praying because the answer didn't come quickly, but you didn't. You held on. You may have wavered, but you never walked away. You may have wept, but you didn't resent the process. You stayed committed, and now that faith is about to speak on your behalf, God is releasing what you prayed for. Not because of chance, not because of timing, but because your faith reached heaven. You refused to let go, and now heaven refuses to remain silent. Every delay carried purpose. Every season of waiting was part of God's greater plan. He was shaping your heart, strengthening your spirit, and teaching you to trust His timing instead of your own. When you believed nothing was happening, God was working in ways you couldn't see. The very thing you've been praying for was being prepared while you were being refined. The wait was never wasted. God was forming the maturity needed to carry what you've been asking for. Some prayers are answered immediately, but others require transformation before fulfillment. And now you have been shaped enough to receive what God promised. God has a perfect rhythm for everything unto heaven. He knows when to open the door, when to say wait, and when to release the outpouring. For so long you've been standing in faith without seeing results. But this is the moment where your endurance meets His promise. The spiritual atmosphere around you is shifting. What was restrained is being released. What was postponed is being accelerated. The drought is ending. The chains are breaking. And the blessing is arriving. When God releases what you prayed for, it often happens suddenly. One moment everything feels ordinary, and the next everything shifts. God does not need time. He moves in timing. He does not follow the calendar of man, but the divine alignment of purpose. And now that alignment has come, you've stepped into a divine moment where all that was restrained is now being released. This is your appointed time. You've cried long enough. You've waited long enough. God is saying now, look back over your life and you'll recognize it. Every struggle prepared you for this breakthrough. Every disappointment taught you reliance. Every setback trained your spirit to trust. You thought you were losing, but you were learning. You believed you were being left behind, but you were being positioned. God never forgot your prayer. He simply waited for the right moment to reveal it. Because if it had come too early, you wouldn't have known how to sustain it. But now you're ready. The release you've been praying for is not a drip. It's an overflow. It's not a partial answer. It's a full revelation. God is not giving you pieces. He's restoring the whole. He's about to pour out favor in areas you never even mentioned. When God releases, he releases in abundance. He does not operate in lack. When he opens the door, no one can shut it. When he lifts you up, no voice of doubt can pull you down. When he blesses you, even your enemies will recognize that it was God who did it. This is the season where your faith is about to speak louder than your pain. What you've been carrying in prayer is about to come forth in reality. God is releasing answers to old prayers, solutions to long battles, and blessings you forgot you even desired. You've reached the moment where prayer meets promise, where persistence meets provision. You've wrestled in faith long enough. Now the breakthrough is being born. You see, the waiting season was not punishment. It was proof. Proof that you could trust God even when you couldn't sense him. Proof that you could believe even when you couldn't see. Proof that your faith wasn't conditional. Anyone can praise God when the blessing is visible, but only the strong can praise through the waiting. Only those anchored in faith can say, I still believe, when there's no evidence in sight. And because you did, God is rewarding you openly. The hidden faith of the secret place always produces a visible harvest in the appointed season. Some of you have been waiting for years, waiting for the opportunity, the breakthrough, the healing, the restoration, the answer that felt unreachable. You've wondered if God forgot you. You've watched others receive what you've long prayed for and thought maybe you were overlooked. But God does not forget his faithful ones. He does not overlook sincere hearts. You were never forgotten. You were being refined. And now, after the refining comes the revealing. The gold within you is ready to shine. When God releases, he restores time. All those years of waiting are not wasted. They are returned multiplied. What took others decades, God can do for you in a moment. The divine release carries acceleration. Things will move fast. Doors will open quickly. And the favor that was once withheld will now pursue you relentlessly. The same God who allowed you to wait is the same God who is about to overwhelm you with blessing. God often examines the heart before he releases the harvest. He watches how you navigate silence, how you respond to delay, how you act when you're unseen. The waiting season reveals what lies within. But when you stay faithful, humble, and patient, God can trust you with greater things. The release is not just about receiving something. It's about being prepared for the responsibility that comes with it. Some blessings require character, not only prayer. And now you have both. This release will not just satisfy a request, it will redirect your destiny. God is about to prove that he heard you the entire time. He's about to reveal that his timing has always been flawless. The same doors that were locked are about to swing wide. The same people who doubted you will witness the hand of God raise you up. What was once your valley will become your triumph. What once caused tears will now produce testimony. God is not only giving you what you asked for, he's giving you what you were created for. There is a divine urgency stirring in the spiritual atmosphere. The things that were delayed are now accelerating. The promises that felt far away are drawing close. You're standing at the edge of fulfillment. The pain behind you is about to be outweighed by the power of your purpose. Every closed door, every missed opportunity, every painful goodbye, all of it was part of the divine design that brought you here. God has not only heard you, he is answering now. Sometimes the release begins softly. You may not see thunder or lightning, but you'll feel a shift inside. Peace replaces anxiety. Strength replaces exhaustion. Clarity replaces confusion. That inner shift is the first sign of the outer release. God moves inwardly before he moves outwardly. When your heart aligns, the doors begin to open. The release starts in the hidden places and then appears in the visible. Do not underestimate the magnitude of this moment. You are stepping into a divine turning point. The same God who allowed you to be tested is now vindicating you. The tears cried in private are about to be honored in public. The prayers whispered in the stillness of midnight are about to resound in the brightness of victory. The release you've been waiting for will not just bless you, it will bless every life connected to yours. God is about to use your journey as evidence that waiting on him is never wasted. When God releases, he does it in ways no one anticipates. The same situation that once wounded you will now uplift you. The same door that closed will become a window of favor. The same opposition that tried to hinder you will be used to elevate you. God's release comes with reversal. He turns mourning into dancing, fear into faith, and loss into laughter. The story that once hurt you will become the very story that heals others. You're about to witness the power of divine timing. God's hand has been arranging everything for this specific season. What felt like endless delay was simply God positioning the right people, the right places, and the right moments. He's not just releasing what you prayed for, he's making sure it arrives in perfection. The blessing will fit your life like a key fits a lock. Nothing missing, nothing damaged, everything restored. Now you must prepare your heart to receive it. Many pray for release, but few get ready for it. When God delivers the answer, you must have the capacity to hold it. Stretch your faith, broaden your vision, and expect more than what you originally asked for, because God never gives partial blessings. He always surpasses expectations. The release will exceed the request. You're not just stepping out of a waiting season, you're stepping into a season of manifestation. You've been tested in the unseen places, but you're about to be rewarded openly. The hidden hand of God is becoming the visible move of God. You've been faithful in the wilderness. Now prepare for the promised land. The tables are shifting, the tide is turning, the answer is here. When God declares the wait is over, every obstacle loses strength, every delay collapses, every barrier falls. Nothing can stand in the way of what God has ordained. You are about to witness movement where there was stagnation, advancement where there was pause, and clarity where confusion once stood. The same place that looked barren will now overflow with abundance. Lift your head and believe again. Speak faith, expect miracles, because what you prayed for has reached heaven's appointed moment. The answers are coming, not as random blessings, but as divine completion. The wait was long, but the reward will be enduring. God's timing may not have matched your desire, but it always aligns with your destiny. And destiny is what's being released now. The wait is over, not because the world says so, but because heaven has spoken it. The spiritual gates are opening, and favor is being poured out. The things that once resisted you will now yield to you. The paths that seemed blocked are being cleared. The season of tears is shifting into a season of triumph. God's release is final, unstoppable, and undeniable. You are about to walk into answered prayers that will leave you in awe. The same mouth that prayed in weakness will soon testify in strength. The same hands that reached in hope will soon hold the manifestation. God is releasing not just blessings but breakthroughs. Breakthroughs that rewrite your story, redefine your identity, and restore your joy. Don't let fear hold you back. The waiting season demanded patience. The release season demands boldness. Step forward. Declare faith. Move with confidence. The door God opens is meant for you to enter. This is your time of divine appointment. You've been approved, prepared, and positioned. Everything you need for this next season is being released. You are not stepping into something ordinary. You are stepping into something sacred. The release carries divine weight. It's more than material. It's spiritual. It's God's response to your faith, your endurance, your trust. The release is not random. It's a reward. You passed the test, and now the reward is appearing. Every promise God has spoken is tied to timing, and now that timing has arrived. The wait is over. Heaven has authorized your release. Angels are moving on your behalf. Doors are unlocking. Opportunities are unfolding. The very things you prayed for are shifting from promise to possession. You're no longer standing at the gate. You're walking through it. You've waited. You've believed. You've endured. And now you will witness it. God is not just releasing what you asked for. He's releasing everything connected to it. Restoration, peace, strength, provision. He's about to saturate you with the fullness of His goodness. You're not just receiving an answer, you're receiving abundance. The wait refined you. The release will define you. Lift your spirit. Stand tall. The season of frustration is closing. The season of fulfillment is beginning. God is not a man that He should forget. Every prayer you've ever prayed was kept. And now the storage of heaven is being poured into your life. The rain is falling. The ground is shifting. The wait is over. God is releasing what you prayed for. When God releases what you prayed for, it's not just an answer, it's a revelation. It reveals that every hidden detail, every confusing moment, and every night of uncertainty had purpose. It shows that God was never late. He was deliberate. What seemed like waiting was actually alignment. While you were asking for a door to open, God was strengthening your legs to walk through it. While you were asking for a blessing, God was preparing your spirit to carry it without collapsing under its weight. The delay was not designed to weaken your hope, but to deepen your trust. God uses waiting not to punish you, but to perfect you. There are truths that only time can teach. There are insights that only silence can unveil. And God, in His divine wisdom, sometimes withholds what you want so He can give you what you need. You may have assumed you were ready, but God knew there was still work to be done within you. He wasn't withholding the blessing. He was shaping the vessel. He wanted to ensure your heart could sustain the glory attached to your prayer. Because what God gives is never small, never fragile, and never shallow. It carries eternal weight, purpose, and power. Now, as the release unfolds, you will notice something different. The peace of God will precede the manifestation. Before you see the door open, you will feel a calm settle into your soul, a knowing that it's done. That peace is the first wave of release. It's the confirmation that heaven has moved. He does not release confusion, He releases confidence. When the release comes, you will not need to chase it. It will move toward you, drawn by divine instruction. You won't have to force it, manipulate it, or plead for it. When God releases, it arrives naturally, effortlessly, beautifully, right on time. You've walked through the wilderness, but now you're emerging, carrying fruit. You've endured the fire, but now you shine with refinement. You've journeyed through storms, but now your roots run deep. The same situations that attempted to break you only strengthened endurance within you. And now that endurance is what will uphold you when the blessing arrives. God didn't permit those trials to crush you. He allowed them to fortify your foundation. Because what is coming is greater than what you lost. The next chapter of your life carries double for your trouble, beauty for ashes, and strength for sorrow. The weight prepared the soil of your soul to receive this harvest. Many underestimate how intentional God is with the details. You see, nothing in your story was accidental. Every detour, every disappointment, every unanswered prayer was a purposeful thread in the fabric of your destiny. God was weaving everything together so that at the appointed moment it would all become clear. When the release comes, you'll look back and realize that what once shattered your heart was actually protecting your purpose. What once felt like rejection was redirection. What once seemed like loss was preservation. The wisdom of God is often hidden in what we label as delay. When God releases, He doesn't just provide answers. He restores identity. Waiting can sometimes make you forget who you are. It can make you question your worth, your place, your purpose. But when the release comes, it reignites the truth of who you've always been. You'll remember that you were never forgotten, never unseen, never unloved. You'll understand that even when the world turned away, God's eyes remained on you. His favor never left you. It was simply waiting for the appointed moment to be revealed. The release reminds you that your name is known in heaven and your destiny is still secured in God's hands. There's something powerful about divine timing. When it's your moment, nothing can hinder it. No opposition, no delay, no system, no voice, no power can interfere with God's decree. What He releases cannot be reversed. When He commands favor, it will find you. When He opens a door, it remains open. You may have been last in line before, but when God releases, He brings you to the front. You may have been overlooked, but the release places you where you cannot be ignored. The same people who once doubted your faith will now witness your fulfillment, and it won't be coincidence. It will be divine confirmation. There's a moment in every believer's life when prayer turns to praise, not because everything is visible yet, but because the Spirit knows something has shifted. You can feel it in your bones, sense it in your soul. It's a spiritual awakening that declares the wait is over. You may still see the same walls around you, but they're already weakening. You may still hear silence, but heaven has already spoken. When God releases, the evidence follows the decree. The manifestation is simply the echo of what has already been established in the unseen. Now do not mistake the release for the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a new season. The release doesn't mean rest from purpose. It means responsibility within promise. When God releases, He expects stewardship. The blessing comes with instruction. The opportunity comes with obedience. The reward comes with refinement. You must walk intentionally in this new season, guarding your spirit, your words, and your focus. Because what you're carrying now is precious. It's not just for you, it's for those who will witness God's faithfulness through you. The release was not meant to elevate your comfort. It was meant to magnify God's glory. You have entered a moment where faith and fulfillment meet the invisible, and the visible are aligning. Every word God declared over your life is taking shape. The same power that sustained you through the waiting will sustain you through the blessing. But hear this, don't rush the manifestation. Don't let impatience steal your peace. The same patience that carried you here will preserve you here. God's release unfolds layer by layer, moment by moment, so you can handle it in fullness. Remember, the blessing God releases carries light. It will expose what doesn't belong. When His favor descends, it separates. You may notice people drifting, opportunities shifting, or certain doors closing just as others open. That's not loss. That's purification. God removes what cannot handle your next level. He clears the atmosphere so that nothing contaminates the release. The pruning that comes with promotion is protection. Don't cling to what He's cutting away. What's leaving was never meant to walk into what's coming. As the release begins to unfold, walk humbly. Don't let pride take root in your success. Remember the tears that watered your prayers. Remember the nights you held on to faith alone. Stay grateful, because the same God who releases can withhold, and the same God who gives can test again. The power of the release is not just in receiving, but in remaining grounded in gratitude. True maturity is not measured by what you receive, but by how you respond to what God gives. And make no mistake, the release will draw attention. Others will notice the shift in your life. They will see the favor, the peace, the abundance. And some will wonder, how did this happen? Let your answer be simple and sincere. It was God, not your skill, not your plan, not your network, but the unseen hand that guided you, lifted you, and sustained you. When you give glory to God for the release, you multiply its reach. Gratitude keeps the flow of favor open. Pride shuts it down. You are stepping into a realm where your words carry power. You've prayed, waited, and now God is trusting your voice. Speak life, not doubt. Speak abundance, not fear. Speak what aligns with faith, not what mirrors circumstances. The same tongue that declared your faith in the dark must now declare praise in the light. What you speak in this season will shape what you see. The release will respond to your confession. Some of you have been asking why now, and the answer is simple. Because you're ready now. You've matured in ways you haven't even recognized. You've developed endurance, discernment, and resilience. God can trust you now with what you once would have mishandled. The trials were never about pain. They were about preparation. You've grown through what you've endured. And now that you've passed the test, the release has been authorized. You are not the same person who started this journey. The waiting transformed you. It humbled you, deepened you, made you more reliant on God. And that's exactly what was needed, because when you carry the blessing now, it will not carry you away from God. It will draw you closer to Him. The release is not a distraction. It's a demonstration of His faithfulness. What God releases will not mislead you. It will bring you peace, purpose, and alignment. So, lift your spirit. Rejoice even before you see it, because it's already settled. You're standing in the fulfillment of prayers that once felt unreachable. The same God who promised is the same God who performs. The same voice that said wait is now saying go. The same silence that tested you is now breaking into a sound of abundance. The release is not coming, it has begun. Every area that was once barren is about to bloom. Every place that was once dry is about to overflow. The wait was long, but the reward will be enduring. You've endured the process, and now you will enjoy the promise. You've trusted the unseen, and now you will testify of what is seen. The doors are opening, the paths are clearing, and the answers are manifesting. God is not withholding anymore. He is releasing. The season of stillness is giving way to movement. The season of longing is turning into living. The promise that felt distant is now standing at your doorstep. You prayed in faith. Now you will live in fulfillment. You held on when others gave up. Now you will rise when others wonder how. You believed when no one else understood. Now you will see what others thought was impossible. Because when God releases, He does it so completely, so beautifully, so perfectly that no one can deny it was His hand. And as you walk into this new season, remember the wait was never in vain. It was the womb of your miracle. And now the time of birth has come. The wait is over. God is releasing what you prayed for. So now as you stand at the edge of your breakthrough, take a breath and feel the weight of what God has brought you through. Every tear you cried was counted. Every night you whispered His name was heard. Every quiet act of faith, every moment you chose to trust, instead of turning away, became the foundation of what is now being released into your life. You didn't wait in vain. You waited with purpose. You stood when everything around you told you to fall back. You believed when everything urged you to give up. And now God is moving in your life because you refused to let go. The same hands that carried you through the storm are now placing blessings into your grasp. This is your moment to step forward, not in pride but in gratitude. Don't let the blessing make you forget the one who gave it. Don't let comfort silence your worship. Let this new season be marked not by what you receive but by how deeply you remain surrendered to God. Let your heart stay soft, your spirit humble, your faith unshakable. Because the release is not just about receiving what you prayed for. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. God doesn't just give to fill your hands. He gives to awaken your soul. Now is the time to renew your devotion. Speak to God in the quiet hours. Thank Him before you ask Him. Honor Him with your actions, not just your words. Let your life become the living proof that waiting on God is never wasted. There will be more mountains ahead, but this time you will climb them with peace. There will be more tests, but this time you will face them with strength. You have learned that God's timing is never off, that His silence is never neglect, and that His plan is always for your good. Carry that truth like fire in your spirit. Look around you. This moment is sacred. Heaven has not forgotten you. The earth itself has shifted to make room for what God has spoken over you. Walk with boldness. Live with faith. Speak with conviction. Don't shrink yourself to fit the past. Don't apologize for being blessed. This is not luck. This is divine favor. And when God blesses you, it's not just for you. It's so His goodness can flow through you. Be a vessel of hope, a carrier of light, a living testimony that faith in God still moves mountains. If there is one thing you must take from all of this, let it be this truth. God is faithful always. When everything else fades, when people change, when doors close, His faithfulness remains. Trust that. Build your life on that. Let every decision, every thought, every plan begin with that knowledge. The wait may have been long, but it brought you to a deeper understanding of who God is. Steady, sovereign, and sure. And when you live from that place, nothing can shake you. So rise up. Lift your head high. Speak the words your heart has held for so long. God, I trust you. Let that be your anthem. Let that be your prayer. Let that be the fire that empowers every step you take from this day forward. Because the wait is over, but your walk with God continues deeper, stronger, and filled with purpose. Go forward with faith that does not falter, gratitude that does not dim, and courage that does not bow to fear. Let your life declare to the world that those who place their trust in God will never be disappointed. And when you wake tomorrow, remember this moment. Remember that you stood in the presence of release. That the same God who sustained you through waiting is the same God who will sustain you in blessing. Let every breath be a testimony of His mercy. Let every victory point back to His power. You have seen His hand move. You have felt His presence near, and you have witnessed His promise come to pass. Now walk boldly into what He has prepared for you, for the wait is over, and God has released whatever you prayed. There comes a moment in every person's journey when they pause and question why things still haven't unfolded. You've prayed, you've waited, you've wept quietly, and you've done everything you know to do. Yet it feels as though life is advancing for everyone else while you remain in place. But let me tell you this. When it appears that God is silent, He is not overlooking you. He is preparing you. Every delay in your story carries divine intention. Every closed opportunity, every unanswered request, every season of waiting is God's method of shaping you for the blessing that is approaching. Trust His timing, because when the moment is appointed, not even the tallest mountain can block what He has ordained for you. Sometimes God holds you back to shield you from stepping into something prematurely. He understands the weight of the blessing you're seeking. He knows the significance of the miracle you're longing for. And He also knows that if He placed it in your hands before you were ready, it could harm you instead of uplift you. That's why His timing is flawless. God's timing is never premature and never delayed. It is always perfectly aligned. The challenge is that we live in a culture obsessed with speed. We crave fast answers, instant outcomes, and quick success. But God is unmoved by the ticking of your clock. He acts according to His divine blueprint. What feels like a holdup is actually sacred alignment. What feels like a setback is God's setup for something greater. There's a purpose behind your waiting. There's a purpose. Certain paths have remained closed. God is proving your faith in the waiting room. It's simple to believe when blessings are flowing, when everything is falling into place, and when progress is visible. But genuine faith, bold and unshakable faith, is forged in the seasons when nothing seems to shift. It's in those moments when God whispers to your heart, "Trust me, trust that I am working behind the scenes, trust that I have not forgotten. Trust that I know what I am doing," because while you wait, God is arranging the pieces of your destiny in ways unseen. There are blessings that can only arrive through time. You may not grasp the reason for the delay now, but one day you'll look back and praise God that He didn't grant what you believed you wanted when you wanted it. You'll recognize that the waiting was not wasted. It was essential. God was strengthening your character, expanding your patience, nurturing your endurance, and fortifying your trust. He was removing individuals who could not walk into your future, exposing motives that didn't align with your calling, and refining your spirit, so that when the blessing finally appears, you will be ready to carry it with grace and wisdom. If God had permitted everything you desired to happen, when you asked, you would have missed what He was trying to teach you. Sometimes God will allow doors to close so that you learn to rely on Him instead of leaning on your own strength. Sometimes He'll permit you to walk through barren seasons so you can truly value the rain when it finally arrives. Sometimes He'll remove your plans so you can recognize His design more clearly. And when His purpose unfolds, you'll understand it was worth every tear, every prayer, every restless night, and every moment of questioning. Why? Faith is not formed in ease. Faith develops in the tension between what you witness and what you believe. When you trust God's timing, you're telling him, I may not understand what you're doing, but I know you're doing it for my good. That's powerful faith, the kind that shifts mountains. It's the kind of faith that commands your heart to stay calm when everything around you feels chaotic. It's the kind of faith that says, God, I'm not going to run ahead of you. I'm going to wait right here until you tell me to move, because when you trust God's timing, you're not losing time. You're aligning with destiny. You might be in a chapter right now where everything appears postponed. You've been waiting for that breakthrough, for that healing, for that opportunity, for that open door. You've prayed until your voice felt empty, and still nothing seems different. But let me tell you this, just because you can't see it doesn't mean God isn't moving. God often performs his greatest work in silence. The roots of a tree grow beneath the surface where no eye can see them. But that hidden growth is what allows the tree to stand firm when storms strike. Likewise, God is strengthening your roots deep in faith. He's ensuring that when your blessing arrives, you'll be able to carry it and not lose yourself in it. There will be moments when you feel overlooked, but God never forgets his own. There's not a single prayer you've whispered that he hasn't heard. There's not a single tear you've shed that he hasn't counted. He's seen your patience, your sacrifice, your quiet endurance. And just when you think it's too late, God will astonish you. Blessings will pour like rivers across dry ground. The same God who held the sun still for Joshua can hold your promise secure until you're ready to receive it. The same God who lifted Joseph from the prison to the palace in one day can raise you from obscurity to favor in a moment. But it will only happen when the timing is right. You can't push God the instant you begin forcing things through your own ability. You step out of alignment with his will. Many people lose their blessing because they attempt to make it happen before its season. But anything built outside of God's timing will eventually collapse. When God opens the door, it will be effortless. You won't have to manipulate, plead, or chase. The opportunity will find you where you stand, because God will establish it. All you must do is remain faithful. Keep sowing even when you don't witness a harvest. Keep praying even when you don't hear a response. Keep walking even when the path before you seems unclear. Because God's delay is not his rejection. There is a cadence to God's design, a divine order that cannot be hurried or changed. You may not recognize it, but everything in your life is aligning according to his flawless timing. You don't need to fear. You don't need to measure your journey against anyone else's. What is destined for you will never slip past you. The blessing marked with your name will reach you. No matter your location, no matter the duration, God has already crafted your story. He knows when the chapter of waiting closes and the chapter of fulfillment begins. Your role is to trust him as each page turns. Patience is not a weakness, it's strength. It's the capacity to remain steady when your emotions urge you to quit. It's choosing belief over irritation, calm over chaos, and trust over urgency. God honors those who wait on him. Waiting is not a setback, it's preparation. When God finally releases the blessing, it will pour out in such fullness that it will compensate for every year you spent waiting. The blessing will not merely satisfy your needs, it will spill into the lives of others. You'll understand that God didn't just make you wait, he made you prepared. There's something remarkable about people who trust God's timing. They carry a quiet resilience, a peace that confounds the world. While others hurry, they rest. While others worry, they remain steady, because they know that when their moment comes, Nothing can hinder what God has decreed. The same God who commands the sunrise and directs the waves is overseeing your timeline. You don't need to stress about when or how it will unfold when God says the word. And when it happens, it will unfold so swiftly you'll look back and declare, only God could have done this. Sometimes God postpones your blessing so that when it arrives, everyone will recognize it came from Him. He'll wait until your resources run out, until your strength fades, until your options end. Then He'll intervene and transform everything in a way that leaves no question of His power. He desires to be glorified through your story. That's why you can't push His timing. That's why you can't give in to frustration when the wait feels long. Because when God acts, He doesn't just give you what you requested. He gives you more than you imagined. Some of you are standing before doors that haven't opened yet, wondering if they ever will. Don't lose hope. God may be keeping that door shut because what's behind it isn't prepared. Or perhaps you're not prepared yet. But when the preparation is finished, the door will open wide and you'll realize it was worth every moment of the wait. The right door opening at the wrong time becomes a disaster, but the right door opening at the right moment becomes destiny. That's why timing is crucial. God's timing shields you, shapes you, and strategically positions you. There are blessings that require time to fully mature. Just like fruit on a tree, if you pick it too soon, it won't taste the way it should. Some blessings in your life are still developing. You must allow God to complete His work. You must trust that while you're waiting, He's preparing your future, aligning your opportunities, and softening the hearts of those tied to your destiny. Every second of waiting is part of your spiritual formation. God is doing far more behind the scenes than you could ever comprehend. If you could see what God sees, you'd recognize why the waiting is essential. You'd see the dangers He's shielding you from. You'd notice the traps He's dismantling before you even get there. You'd see the people He's preparing to bless you, the situations He's arranging, the road He's clearing. That's why you must walk by faith, not by sight. Faith declares, even when I don't see it, I believe it. Faith declares, even when it hurts, I trust God's hand. Because when you walk in faith, you're walking in divine timing. The truth is, God's timing often feels slow to human hearts. But slow does not mean still. God is never idle. He's deliberate. Every moment of your waiting season is filled with divine intention. He's stretching your endurance. He's purifying your heart. He's teaching you to rely fully on Him, because once the blessing arrives, you'll need the strength that the waiting season built within you. God doesn't just prepare blessings for you. He prepares you for the blessing. That's why the wait feels lengthy, because He's building you to endure. There will come a moment when everything changes. One instant of divine timing can reverse years of hardship. God can restore what's been lost, repair what's been damaged, and revive what's been forgotten, all in His perfect time. You won't have to chase the blessing. It will come to you. It will meet you where obedience has anchored you. That's why you must stay steadfast. Keep doing what's right, even when it feels unseen. Keep believing even when you don't notice movement. God's reward for faithfulness is greater than you can imagine. Some of your greatest blessings come disguised as delays. When plans fall apart, when doors shut, when people walk away, it's often God's direction moving you towards something better. Trust the detours. Trust the pauses. Trust the silence. Every no from God is protecting you from a lesser yes. Every delay is preparing something beyond what you prayed for. The blessing that comes through divine timing will not only sustain you, it will elevate you, renew you, and prove that God was with you from the beginning. You may feel weary from waiting. You may feel like you prayed the same prayer endlessly, but don't give up now. The moment you're ready to give up is often the very moment right before the breakthrough. God's blessings are nearer than you realize. The night always feels heaviest before the dawn, but the dawn always arrives. The ache of waiting cannot compare to the joy of receiving what God has prepared for you. Hold on to your faith. Keep trusting the one who governs time itself. He knows precisely when to turn your mourning into dancing, your trials into victory, and your pain into purpose. When the blessing starts to flow, it won't come as a small stream. It will pour out. You'll encounter sudden favor, divine alignments, open doors, and opportunities that only God could arrange. You'll recognize how every delay, every setback, and every wound was guiding you to this very moment. You'll stand amazed and say, "Now I understand." You'll realize that what you thought was a detour was actually the direct route to your destiny. God's timing will reveal itself as flawless, and His blessings will spill into every area of your life. So don't let impatience steal your peace. Don't let comparison drain your joy. Your story is unfolding exactly the way it should. The God who set the stars in their places is guiding each step you take. You are not behind. You are not overlooked. You are exactly where you need to be for what God is preparing next. Believe that. Rest in that. And when the moment arrives, the blessing will flow, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. When you trust God's timing, you release control. You stop striving for outcomes that heaven is already settled. You stop doubting the process and start standing on the promise. You begin to understand that waiting is never wasted when it's done in faith, because when the blessing finally comes, it will carry the fragrance of divine intention. It will remind you that every moment of waiting was worth it, for God is never late. The blessing will appear exactly when it is appointed to, and when it does, you'll know it was all by His hand. Let me tell you something profound. Waiting on God is not a punishment. It is a privilege. Too often we see seasons of delay as burdens, but they are sacred workshops where God forms our character, sharpens our insight, and prepares us for the fullness of His promise. Do you understand what I mean? Every day you feel stuck, every quiet tear you cry, every prayer that seems unanswered, it's all orchestrated by a God who knows what you need before you even speak it. The world does not operate in divine order, but God does. While people rush and falter, God moves with perfect accuracy. His timing is impeccable, and His purpose cannot be shaken. Consider the strength of patience rooted in trust. There is a difference between waiting without purpose and waiting with faith. The one who waits in faith is continually planting seeds, preparing their heart, and cultivating a spirit ready to hold the greatness God intends to pour out. Waiting in faith is never idle. It is a disciplined step of obedience. It is declaring, God, I may not see the path, but I trust your steps. I may not fully grasp your silence, but I trust you are speaking in ways beyond my hearing. That trust will guard you from choosing out of desperation, from stepping into places too soon, from reaching for blessings that are not meant for you yet. God often uses seasons of waiting to examine your commitment. Many desire the blessing, but few are willing to embrace the discipline required before it. You may believe you want the reward, but do you truly desire the preparation that must come first? Do you welcome the refinement that shapes you into a vessel able to hold what God intends for you? Let me remind you, the blessing is not only about abundance, it is about readiness. God will not release his treasures to those unprepared, because he wants the blessing to transform you entirely, not simply satisfy you for a moment. There are seasons when God feels silent, when his presence seems distant, and when the heavens appear unresponsive. In such moments, it is vital to remember that God's silence is not abandonment. It is his way of testing the sincerity of your devotion. Understand this. Faith is not measured by comfort. It is measured by endurance. Faith is not proven in easy days, but in storms, valleys, and uncertainties. You must choose to trust God's perfect timing, even when the world mocks your patience. You must cling to him when every natural sign urges you to let go. Trusting God in the waiting is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the temporary from the eternal. Hear this clearly. God does not act impulsively. He does not move without intention. Everything he does is purposeful, precise, and divine. The moment he opens the door, no force on earth can shut it. The moment he releases the blessing, no barrier can hinder it. And the moment he shifts your life, the change will be unmistakable. That is the assurance of trusting God's timing. You are not left wandering in uncertainty. You are not abandoned in discouragement. You are being positioned, aligned, and prepared for a breakthrough that will leave a permanent mark on your life. Think back on the seasons behind you. Consider the struggles, the detours, the prayers that went unanswered. You may have questioned God's timing then, but now you can see the wisdom in it. God's delays have always held purpose. They taught you lessons, revealed strengths, and prepared you for moments you never anticipated. The blessing may seem far away, but it is nearer than you imagined. The work God is doing now is unseen, but its effect will be eternal. Let me speak boldly to you. Do not resent the waiting. Do not resist the delay. Embrace it. Use it to build character, patience, and resilient faith. Use it to remove distractions that could pull you from God's intention. Use it to cleanse your heart so that when the blessing arrives, it won't be squandered on the unimportant, but used to fulfill divine purpose. The one who trusts God's timing does not fear delay. They understand that delay is the furnace where their faith is strengthened and refined. God's timing is flawless because it is crafted to display his glory. You see, when blessings show up too early, people may credit luck or human effort. But when they arrive at God's appointed moment, when every detail aligns in a way only he could arrange, the world will recognize that it is God who has moved. Your life can become a testimony of divine order, a living illustration of what happens when someone releases their own schedule and submits completely to God's will. Let me remind you, there is no situation too complex for God to overcome, no barrier too massive for his strength, and no delay too extended for his plan. You may feel discouraged, you may feel overlooked by the world, you may feel tired from the waiting, but God has not forgotten. Every tear, every step of faith, every moment of patience is noted by the Almighty, and when the time comes he will release an overflow of blessings that will exceed your imagination, saturate your life with favor, and establish you in ways only his wisdom can engineer. The key is surrender. Surrender to his timing. Let go of the urge to control, to force, or to manipulate the outcome. Surrender is not weakness, it is strength. It is admitting that God sees the entire picture while you see only fragments. Surrender is declaring, God, I will trust you even when the way is unclear. Even when the answer seems slow. Even when my endurance is stretched. That surrender positions you to receive the flow of blessings God has prepared. And know this, the blessing will not only meet your needs, it will energize your purpose. It will equip you to influence others. The abundance that pours into your life will spill into your family, your community, and everyone connected to you. God's timing guarantees that blessings arrive in a way that maximizes their impact. It is never just about you. It is about the mission God accomplishes through you. The person who trusts God's timing does not merely receive, they multiply, they inspire, and they step into destiny. You may ask, how long must I wait? I tell you this, wait as long as God instructs you to wait. The waiting is part of the shaping. Each season forms you, prepares you, and teaches you lessons you cannot learn any other way. Be steadfast in faith, persistent in prayer, and unwavering in righteousness. Do not allow doubt to blur your vision or fear to influence your steps. God's timing is approaching, and when it arrives, it will not be partial, it will be complete. It will not be fragile, it will be mighty. It will not extend beyond what is necessary. It will come with divine precision. Remember, God does not measure time as we do. What feels like years to you may be moments to Him. What seems long and heavy in human terms is brief in divine perspective. That is why waiting is never wasted. That is why patience is honored. That is why trust is absolutely essential. You are not falling behind. You are being aligned with eternity. You are not losing time. You are gaining maturity. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned for a blessing that will surpass your expectations. And when the blessing arrives, it will come with undeniable clarity. Doors will open that no one can shut. Opportunities will emerge that no one can manufacture. Favor will appear in ways that surpass logic, and provision will increase in ways that stretch the imagination. You will realize that the waiting was never empty. You will see that every patient moment, every silent tear, every act of faith was woven into God's masterful plan to bring you into this place of divine overflow. Stand firm in the truth that God's timing is flawless. Do not hurry Him, do not doubt Him, and do not grow discouraged. Your blessing is on its way. It may seem delayed, but it will not be denied. It may take longer than you hoped, but it will come in fullness. It may demand endurance, but it will be worth every breath. God is faithful to complete every promise, and when He does, the blessings will pour into your life with strength, abundance, and divine favor without limit. Let your heart remain bold, your spirit unwavering, and your gaze fixed on the One who holds the universe in His hands. Trust Him, for He has never failed. Wait on Him, for He knows what is best. Believe in Him, for His timing is unmatched. And when the moment arrives, you will see that the waiting, the stretching, and the patience were all guiding you into a life overflowing with blessings only God could design. Listen closely. The reason so many blessings take longer to arrive is not because God is distant, but because His ways exceed ours. Humans see what is now, but God sees the entire span of our lives. Human hands reach for what is immediate, but God orchestrates eternity. Every delay, every unanswered prayer, every shut door is part of a grand design beyond our understanding. God's timing is protection, direction, and provision all at once. Those who grasp this find peace in the waiting even when storms swirl around them. Those who trust His timing are unshaken by circumstances because they know the author of creation is writing their story and no force can rewrite it. You must grasp this truth. Blessing rarely arrives when you want it, but when you are prepared to sustain it. God is not only sending abundance, He is shaping you to carry it, to steward it wisely, and to use it to fulfill the purpose He ordained for your life. The one who receives without preparation risks collapse, but the one who waits in faith receives favor that strengthens, empowers, and lifts them higher. Waiting in God's timing is not a delay. It is a preparation. It is a divine shaping of your spirit, your mind, and your heart. It is forming you into a vessel capable of carrying more than you ever imagined. There are blessings that only come after patience has been tested. God does not bless the impulsive. He does not honor restlessness or careless choices. The hurried heart and the anxious mind often run into opportunities that are shallow, short-lived, or even destructive. But the one who waits on God, who trusts His timing, receives a flow of blessing that cannot be stolen, a favor that cannot be quantified, and a peace that surpasses comprehension. Do not despise the gradual unfolding of God's design. The fruit on the tree matures in its season, not at the demand of human desire. God knows when it is ready, and He will not allow it to fall too soon. Consider the pattern of patience and waiting woven into all creation. The farmer does not sow the seed and expect an instant harvest. The rain does not arrive on the first day of planting. The sun does not produce immediate growth. There's a time for sowing, a time for watering, and a time for reaping. So it is with your life. You must plant in faith, water with persistence, and wait for the harvest to manifest in God's perfect timing. Your effort is not wasted. Your tears are not ignored. Every sacrifice, every prayer, every obedience step will yield fruit in the appointed season. I want to emphasize the power of steadfastness. It is simple to trust when everything is going well. It is easy to believe when the road is clear and the blessings visible, but true trust in God is forged in uncertainty. It is deepened in the quiet. It is tested when the heavens seem silent. Those who remain faithful in these seasons are the ones who will see God act in ways beyond human explanation. They will witness miracles that defy understanding, opportunities no human could create, and provision that surpasses imagination. Do not be deceived by temporary setbacks. God's delays are not refusals. They are divine pauses. They are His way of ensuring that when He moves, His work is whole, His plan perfected, and His blessing unshakable. Many fail to value waiting because they measure success by speed and immediacy. But God measures success by alignment, maturity, and purpose. Your timing is human. His timing is divine. Trust that difference. Surrender to it. Celebrate it. Because the blessing that comes in God's perfect time will exceed every expectation. A day will come when you will look back on your season of waiting and marvel at the wisdom behind it. You will see how God's hand guided every closed door, every delay, every challenge. You will realize that what felt like stillness was actually growth. What felt like lack was actually preparation. What felt like silence was actually divine orchestration. And in that moment, your heart will overflow with gratitude because you will finally realize that God's timing is always beautifully perfect. Trusting God's timing also guards your heart from disappointment. Too often we pursue things never intended for us, simply because we refuse to wait. We reach toward opportunities, relationships, and positions that God has not yet released for our lives. In doing so, we open ourselves to hurt, loss, and regret. But when we learn to wait on God, when we learn to rely on His timing, we escape the snares of impatience. We are protected from premature steps and hurried choices. We are set in place to receive only what has been uniquely prepared for us. And that is a blessing no one can take. The blessing that arrives through God's timing is transformative. It is not merely physical. It is spiritual, emotional, and everlasting. It will strengthen your faith, sharpen your insight, and widen your perspective. It will enable you to rise above every challenge and trial you have endured. It will remind you that God never ignored you, that your prayers were heard, and that your trust-filled obedience mattered. This is the wonder of God's perfect timing. It strengthens, it elevates, and it honors Him. Let me challenge you today. Do not be controlled by impatience. Do not be disturbed by what you cannot yet see. Do not lose hope because the blessing has not appeared. The God who commands the heavens and the earth directs your path. His timing is precise. His ways are flawless. His purposes for you are intentional and full of meaning. The delay is not a setback. It is preparation. The wait is not punishment. It is a disguised blessing. And when the blessing comes, it will flood your life with power, abundance, and favor that only God can release. Remember, the person who trusts God's timing is the one who lives in peace. The one who trusts God's timing does not collapse, does not panic, and does not surrender to doubt. Their faith stands on the unmovable truth that God's plan cannot fail. Their patience is strengthened by the assurance that His timing is perfect. Their joy deepens because they know what is coming is worth every moment of waiting. And so I urge you to embrace your season of waiting with faith. Do not rush. Do not manipulate. Do not force an answer. Align your steps with God's timing, and you will find that the blessings He promised will not only arrive, they will overflow, they will rebuild, they will empower, they will promote, they will show that every moment of patience, every tear, every prayer, every act of obedience was woven into God's divine orchestration. Hold firmly to your trust in God. Remain steadfast in prayer. Stand strong in your belief. The blessing is drawing near. And when it comes, it will arrive in full measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. God's timing is perfect. God's blessing is approaching. And when it arrives, your life will be transformed forever. Now understand this clearly. Your entire journey rests within the hands of the Almighty. And there is no power, no situation, and no delay that can interfere with His flawless design. Every hardship, every stretch of waiting, every moment of uncertainty has been placed on your path with intention. God is shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for a blessing so immense that it will go beyond what you envisioned. You may not notice it yet, but the foundation of your future is being built. The doors of destiny are being arranged, and the streams of favor are gathering force, ready to pour into your life at the precise moment. Do not let doubt steal your calm. Do not let impatience weaken your faith. Do not let the world's noise silence the voice of the one who knows everything. Instead, remain steady. Lift your heart in trust and surrender completely to God's timing. Examine your heart sincerely. Are there places where anxiety, fear, or haste have taken root? Are there areas that must be fully yielded to God's direction? Let this moment become a turning point. Let today be the day you recommit your patience, your belief, and your full trust in God's perfect. Renew your intention with the confidence that God has not left you, that your prayers have been heard, and that your obedience will be honored. Walk forward in faith each day, knowing that every choice, every sacrifice, and every step aligns with the divine schedule beyond your understanding. Let your life become a testimony to the power of trusting God, a living witness that His timing is flawless, His wisdom unmatched, and His blessings without limit. And now rise with boldness. Let your heart be filled with hope. Let your spirit embrace patience with confidence. Let your faith remain unshaken, for God is preparing a blessing that will reach every part of your life, restore every loss, fulfill every promise, and lift you higher than you have ever stood. Stand strong. Move forward with conviction and trust completely, for the outpouring of God's blessing is on its way, and when it arrives it will overflow with abundance, favor, and divine glory beyond measure. Your waiting has not been pointless. Your testing has not been wasted. The God who rules the heavens and the earth holds your destiny securely in His hands. Trust Him, follow Him, obey Him, and watch your life be changed by the unstoppable flow of His perfect timing and limitless blessing. There comes a time in everyone's life when the obstacles seem insurmountable. The doors appear to be firmly shut, and it feels like every prayer hangs unanswered in the silence. You try to push forward, but something intangible pulls you back. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you can sense it holding you down, preventing your progress. It's as if life has set a limit in front of you, saying this is as far as you can go. But I am here to tell you today that this is not the end. God has the power to break every wall standing between you and your destiny. No chain is too strong for Him to shatter. No gate too fortified for Him to open. When God chooses to propel you forward, nothing can stop you. Not fear, not doubt, not the mistakes of your past, not the voices of others, and not even the weight of your own limitations. God moves with a power that cannot be resisted. He clears the way for you, removes the unnecessary, and shifts the atmosphere so that everything that once worked against you now works in your favor. Some of you may have been waiting for change, praying, hoping, but feeling like nothing is happening. What you might not realize is that God has been at work behind the scenes, setting things in motion, aligning circumstances for His purpose in your life. The obstacles you see today aren't meant to destroy you, but to display His strength. When He breaks them, you'll know it's His power alone. Think back to those times when you felt trapped out of options, and then suddenly a way appeared. That was God showing you that He doesn't need anyone's permission to bless you. When He declares your time, no one can stop it. He opens doors no one can shut, and shuts doors no one can open. He is the author of every breakthrough, the master of every turn, and the finisher of every good work He begins. Every person lifted by God faced obstacles before the blessing. And that's the pattern of faith. If the path were easy, you'd rely on your own strength. But when it's impossible, when every direction seems blocked, that's when you learn to trust fully in Him. And when you trust Him, that's when He moves. Because faith is the key that unlocks divine power. Faith makes the impossible possible. Faith invites God into your life and shows that He alone is the one who can break through barriers. Sometimes the obstacles aren't external, they're internal. Doubt, fear, insecurity, shame. These are the invisible walls that prevent people from stepping into the life God designed for them. You may think your struggle is with the enemy, but often it's your own thoughts, your own words, your own disbelief that holds you back. You keep telling yourself, I can't, I'm not ready, it's too late. And God is saying, if you will trust me, I will move you past your fear. I will push you beyond your limits. I will push you into your purpose. When you surrender the inner battle, the external barriers begin to fall. God doesn't require your perfection to bless you. He only needs your faith. He only needs your surrender. He just needs you to say, God, I trust you even when I don't understand. Because when you allow Him to take control, He moves in ways you could never imagine. He begins to break through walls that previous generations couldn't. He starts opening doors no one thought could be opened. You see, God is not restricted by what restricts you. He is not intimidated by your past or your failures. He is not bound by your circumstances. He is greater than every problem, more powerful than every delay, and stronger than every enemy. When you walk with God, you walk with power. But that power doesn't always come with ease. It comes with challenges. When God is preparing to take you into something greater, life often gets harder. The pressure mounts. Opposition rises. Things that once worked begin to fall apart. It's not because He's against you, it's because He's moving you. You can't stay where you are and reach where God is leading you. He has to shake up what's familiar to push you into what's divine. He has to take away what you've been holding on to so you can grasp something greater. You might be in a season where everything feels uncertain. You've been trying to move forward, but nothing is happening. You've prayed, but the answers seem delayed. You've trusted, but doors remain shut. But let me tell you, just because you don't see progress doesn't mean God isn't at work. When the walls of Jericho stood tall, the people marched around them for 7 days. The walls didn't fall on the first day. They didn't crumble on the second, but each step was weakening the foundation. Each prayer was shaking the ground. Each act of faith was building pressure in the unseen. And on the 7th day, when the time was right, the walls came crashing down. That's how God works. You may not see it, but He's working beneath the surface, breaking the foundation of every barrier in your way. Some barriers exist not to stop you, but to show that God is with you. How would you know His power unless you face something you can't fix? How would you recognize His guidance if you hadn't walked through confusion? How would you understand His strength if you hadn't experienced weakness? Every challenge, every obstacle, every closed door is a chance for God to reveal Himself in your life. So stop viewing barriers as punishment and start seeing them as preparation. Because when God is about to elevate you, He first prepares the ground beneath your feet. You might think, but I've been through too much. I've lost so much. I've fallen too far. God specializes in brokenness. He takes what's been shattered and turns it into strength. He takes what's been delayed and turns it into destiny. Nothing you've lost is beyond His reach. When God decides to move you forward, He redeems the time you thought was wasted. He restores the years that were stolen. He accelerates what once seemed slow. That's why you don't have to fear what's behind you. When God is guiding you, your past no longer matters. What lies ahead is greater. Some people will try to stop you. They will misunderstand you. They will question what God is doing in your life. But let them talk. Let them doubt. Because when God decides to lift you, no one can bring you down. When God says yes, no one can say no. He will break every opinion, every plan, every obstacle that dares to stand against his purpose for you. You don't have to fight for recognition. God will announce you at the right time. You don't have to chase opportunities. God will create them. What he has ordained for you can't be stolen, delayed, or denied. Every barrier that rises against someone chosen by God is already defeated before it even starts. The real issue isn't the barrier, it's our belief. We often focus on the size of the wall instead of the power of God. We measure our future by what we see rather than by what he said. But faith refuses to look at the wall. It focuses on the one who can move it. Faith says, this wall will fall not by my power but by God's command. When you start speaking this way, things begin to shift because faith invites God to take over the battle. And when he fights, victory is certain. Some of you have been hidden for a long time. You've been wondering why it seems like no one notices your efforts, why doors stay shut, why recognition hasn't come. But sometimes God hides you intentionally. He hides you until the right moment. He hides you until the right people are watching. He hides you until your foundation is strong enough to bear what he's about to give you. Don't confuse hiding with rejection. When the time is right, God himself will reveal you. He will break the barriers of invisibility and place you where your voice will be heard. What was hidden will be elevated, not by your strength but by his command. When God pushes you, he does so with precision. He doesn't push randomly. He pushes strategically. Every event, every delay, every closed door, every disappointment has a purpose. Nothing in your journey is wasted. The pain, the waiting, the loss, all of it was shaping you for this moment. Because when you finally break through, you realize that every obstacle was a part of the blessing. Every no led to a better yes. Every delay was safeguarding you from harm. Every setback was positioning you for success. There are seasons when it feels like God is silent. Don't mistake silence for absence. God does his greatest work in the stillness. He's working on your behalf when you can't see it. He's fighting battles you're unaware of. He's aligning people to help you at just the right time. And when the silence ends, when his perfect timing arrives, everything will change in an instant. The same God who controls the wind and the waves also controls your destiny when he speaks. Every barrier trembles. You need to understand that when God is about to push you into your next season, resistance will grow stronger. The pressure will intensify because you're on the brink of breakthrough. The enemy always fights hardest when you're closest to victory. That's why you can't give up now. You can't let temporary discomfort make you doubt eternal purpose. The moment just before the wall falls is always the hardest, but it's also the most crucial. Keep standing, keep believing, because what God has promised, he will fulfill. One day you'll look back and realize that the very barriers that tried to break you were the ones that strengthened your faith. You'll see that God was never late, never silent, never absent. He was orchestrating everything for your good. He was teaching you to trust him, not the circumstances. He was showing you that his power isn't limited by what you can see. So hold on to this truth. When God decides to move in your life, no force in the universe can stop you. No opposition can block his blessing. No circumstance can delay his timing. God will break every barrier to move you forward. He will remove what needs to go. He will open what needs to open. He will shift what needs to shift. And when he does, you'll know it was his power, his mercy, and his perfect timing that carried you through. The walls in front of you today won't last forever. The gates that are closed now will open when God says it's time. The resistance that feels unbearable will soon become your testimony. You will rise from this season stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before. Because every barrier that once held you back will become the foundation beneath your feet. God will use what tried to stop you as the very thing that lifts you. Trust Him even when it hurts. Follow Him even when it's unclear. Believe Him even when it's delayed, because the God who called you has already prepared the victory ahead of you. He's not waiting for your perfection. He's waiting for your surrender. And once you give it, the barriers will fall. The path will open and you'll step into the purpose that was written for you before you were born. The world may see obstacles, but God sees opportunities. The world may see endings, but God sees new beginnings. The world may call it over, but God calls it preparation. Every barrier has its breaking point. And when God's hand moves, that breaking point arrives quickly. So stand strong, stay faithful, because your breakthrough is nearer than you realize. God is about to dismantle every barrier to push you exactly where you need to be. There will come a time in your life when you understand that the obstacles before you were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to reveal how powerful God really is. Every wall in your path is an opportunity for God to show His strength. Every delay, every disappointment, every rejection carries within it the potential for divine action. You see, God allows barriers not to discourage you, but to teach you dependence. When everything is stripped away, when human help fails, when resources run out, when plans fall apart, that's when you'll clearly see God's hand. That's when you learn that your success isn't found in your strategies, but in your surrender. When God decides to move you forward, nothing stays the same. The things that once felt comfortable will begin to shake. The people who once walked with you may start to drift away. The places that once brought you satisfaction will no longer feel like home. That's because God is transitioning you. He's removing the familiar to make space for the extraordinary. You can't carry old habits into a new season. You can't bring yesterday's mindset into tomorrow's miracle. When God breaks barriers, He also breaks attachments. He frees you from everything that limits your growth, everything that drains your strength, everything that distracts your focus. He clears the path, because what He is about to do requires your full attention and unwavering faith. There are times when God's push feels painful. The road may narrow. The pressure may increase. But don't mistake the pressure for punishment. The pressure has purpose. It's the sign that something powerful is being birthed. Just as a seed must crack before life emerges, you too must go through seasons of breaking before breakthrough. God is not trying to crush you. He's trying to release you. He's breaking through the hard shell of fear, doubt, and limitation that has held you back. You are not being buried. You are being planted. And when the right time comes, what God planted in you will rise with strength, unstoppable and undeniable. God knows exactly what it takes to push you into your destiny. He knows how to stir your spirit when you've settled too long in one place. He knows how to disrupt your comfort to awaken your calling. Sometimes He removes what you thought you needed so you can realize that all you've ever needed was Him. Sometimes He closes doors because He knows the path beyond them would harm your soul. Sometimes He delays your answer because He's still strengthening your faith. But when the time is right, when your heart is ready and your character is refined, God will act swiftly. What took years to build can change in an instant when His hand is upon you. There are people who will look at your journey and not understand it. They will question why things are taking so long, why some doors remain closed, why you seem hidden while others are celebrated. But you must know God's timing is never like man's timing. He works in divine order, not by human schedules. While others may rush ahead, God may hold you back for a reason. He's building depth within you. He's ensuring that when He lifts you, you won't falter under the weight of the blessing. God isn't merely pushing you towards success, He's shaping you for significance. He's developing the strength, humility, and endurance needed to carry what He's about to place in your hands when barriers rise. Faith must rise even higher. Faith isn't believing only when it's easy. Faith is standing firm when everything seems unclear. It's declaring that God will make a way even when the evidence suggests otherwise. Faith doesn't ignore the presence of walls. It declares that those walls will fall. When you walk with faith, you stop focusing on the size of your problem and start magnifying the greatness of your God, because the size of your faith determines the scale of your breakthrough. When you believe that God can break barriers, you activate His power to do so. Many of you are standing at the edge of something new. You can feel it deep within you. You know something is shifting, but you can't fully see it yet. That uncertainty isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to prepare you. God rarely reveals the full journey at once because He wants you to trust Him step by step. If you could see everything ahead, you wouldn't need faith. But faith is what moves mountains. Faith is what parts seas. Faith is what turns the impossible into the inevitable. And when you walk by faith, barriers are no longer obstacles. They are simply signs that you're drawing closer to divine fulfillment. There are times when God will isolate you, not because He's forgotten you, but because He's protecting you. He will pull you away from distractions so you can hear His voice more clearly. He will separate you from certain people, not because they are bad, but because they can't go where He's leading you. When God is preparing to push you into greatness, He often does it in private. The transformation happens in silence. And when He's finished, the world will see the difference. The same people who once doubted you will have no choice but to recognize the power of God in your life. God's push doesn't just elevate you, it refines you. It reveals everything in your heart that needs to change. It teaches you patience, humility, and perseverance. It tests your obedience when the path is unclear. Because if you can't trust God during the waiting, you won't sustain what He gives you in the winning. The waiting season is not wasted. It's where God builds your foundation. Every tear, every unanswered prayer, every closed door is strengthening your faith. And when the breakthrough comes, you'll understand why it had to unfold this way. Don't ever forget, God is not limited by your circumstances. You may feel surrounded by impossibilities, but God isn't bound by human limitations. He can raise you in the middle of the wilderness. He can promote you when no one supports you. He can open doors where doors don't exist. God's favor isn't dependent on approval from others. His power doesn't require permission. When He says move, everything around you must align with His word. Barriers that have stood firm for years will crumble in moments. Mountains that once obstructed your view will melt like wax at His command. You must stop underestimating what God can accomplish through you. Too many people allow the fear of failure to hold them back from moving forward. But God didn't create you to live small. He placed within you the power to rise, to conquer, and to transform. The same God who created the galaxies and commands the stars has breathed life into you. That means no barrier can keep you down permanently unless you surrender to it. Stand tall and declare that no fear, no past, no failure, and no force can stop you from what God has promised. You were created to overcome. You were designed to rise. You were made for divine victory. When God pushes you forward, He doesn't just remove obstacles. He also accelerates what belongs to you. What should have taken years will now take months. What seemed impossible will become unstoppable. You'll see connections appear from nowhere. Opportunities will arise unexpectedly. The things you once chased will begin chasing you. That's the power of divine momentum. God's push is not gradual, it is mighty. When He moves, everything changes. There will be moments when resistance will feel stronger as you get closer to your breakthrough. That's not a sign to quit. It's confirmation that you're nearing the finish line. The enemy always increases pressure when he knows God is about to release a blessing. But God has already declared victory. What's written in your destiny cannot be erased by opposition. You must learn to praise in the midst of pressure, to stand firm when the winds are fierce, and to keep walking when you feel exhausted, because that's when God steps in. When you reach your limit, His strength begins. Every barrier that has kept you bound will serve a purpose in your story of triumph. God never wastes pain. He never forgets effort. He never overlooks faith. The nights you spent weeping, the days you spent fighting, and the moments when you almost gave up, He saw them all. And now He's saying, it's time. Time for you to rise. Time for you to walk into the promises He has prepared. Time for you to leave behind the weight of fear and step into freedom. The same hands that held you in the valley will now lift you to the mountain. When God pushes you, you won't need to explain yourself. The evidence will speak louder than your words. People will witness a transformation they cannot deny. The very ones who once doubted you will see God's power through you. They will wonder how the barriers that stopped others couldn't stop you. And you will know it was because God Himself cleared the way. His power is not confined by logic. His will overrides circumstance. His timing redeems every delay. So rise up today with renewed confidence. You are not forgotten. You are not stuck. You are not powerless. You are standing on the edge of something divine. God has seen your struggles, counted your tears, and measured your endurance. And now He's ready to act. He's ready to push you through every limitation, through every fear, and through every wall that once stood between you and your purpose. You're about to see that when God moves, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand in His way. The winds may blow, the waves may rise, but the one who places their trust in God will remain unmoved. Stand your ground, keep your faith strong, and stay firm in the belief that no barrier can outlast the will of the Almighty. Because when the appointed time comes, the very walls that surround you will fall, and the path ahead will open wide. You will walk through, not by your own strength, but by His command. And when you do, you'll realize that every delay, every struggle, and every barrier was merely a setup for the divine push that moves you into your destiny. So now the question is, before every heart listening, will you let the barriers define you, or will you let God break them? The walls that surround you are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a greater revelation. God is not calling you to live in defeat. He is calling you to rise, to walk by faith, and to believe that His hand is mighty enough to lift you from every limitation. This is not the time to shrink back in fear. This is the time to stand tall in faith, to trust that the same God who brought light into darkness can bring purpose into your pain and direction into your confusion. Lift your head and look ahead, because God is not done with you. He has seen every struggle, every disappointment, and every silent prayer you whispered when no one else was listening. He has counted every tear and remembered every sacrifice. And in his perfect timing, he will turn it all into something beautiful. You may not see how, but he already has a way prepared. You may not know when, but his timing is perfect. You may not feel strong, but his strength will carry you. All he asks is that you hold on, that you believe even when the evidence seems against you, and that you trust his plan is greater than your understanding. Let this truth sink deeply into your spirit. No power can stand against the one who walks with God. No voice can curse what God has blessed. No obstacle can outlast his will. When he decides to move, nothing in heaven or on earth can resist him. So rise up with courage. Let go of the doubt that has weighed down your heart. Release the fear that has whispered lies to you. Speak faith into your life. Declare that God will make a way, that he will break every barrier, and that he will push you into everything he has promised. Let every breath from this moment forward be filled with trust in God's power. Step into tomorrow, not with hesitation, but with holy confidence, knowing that God is already ahead of you, clearing the way and lighting your path. The same hands that created the mountains are guiding your every step. The same voice that commands the thunder is speaking peace into your storm. The same God who spoke the universe into existence is at work in your life right now. So move forward, live boldly, believe deeply, and let your heart be anchored in faith, your mind shielded by peace, and your spirit energized by unwavering trust. Because when God is with you, barriers become stepping stones, pain turns into power, and delays transform into destiny. This is your call to walk with a faith so firm that nothing in the world can shake it, to hold on to God so tightly that no storm can break it, and to live each day as a testimony that no barrier is greater than his will. And as you move forward, remember this: God has never failed, and he never will. What he has promised, he will bring to pass. What he has started in you, he will finish. So stand firm, keep believing, and let your life be a testament that when God moves, every barrier falls, and every purpose is fulfilled. Walk in this truth. Live in his strength.